Welcome back, everyone, to the Mid Podcast. Make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you get notified every time a new video goes up. Well, today I'm going to be diving into House of the Dragon, Season 3, Episode 4. And this is an episode that somehow managed to have fewer dragons than the title promised, but somehow delivered even more emotional damage than Dragonfire. Seriously, this episode proved that in Westeros, your biggest enemy isn't always a dragon. Sometimes it can be your uncle, or your mother, or your cousin, even your political advisor, and sometimes it's unresolved childhood trauma. This episode slowed the action down, but it absolutely accelerated the political chess match. Instead of explosions, we got manipulation. Instead of giant battles, we got conversations that could end the kingdom? Are you kidding me? Well, let's break down every major character that worked, what didn't, what impressed me the most, and why this episode quietly changes the direction of season 3. The episode shifts the focus toward Ormond Hightower and his growing influence. Is it me, or is he just like a royal pain in the rumpus? We get to see the emergence of Darren. I think he's going to be very interesting. Haven't quite figured him out yet. Rhaena's secret and the increasingly fragile position of Rhaenyra's rule. So, first impressions. Overall, I liked the episode. Was it slower? Absolutely. Did dragons burn anyone alive every 10 minutes? No. Did Matt Smith spend half the episode looking like a man realizing his family tree is actually a circle? Yes. This episode reminded me of why House of the Dragon is at its best. And it's not because of the dragons, but because of politics. Game of Thrones was never great because of battles. It was great because people sitting around tables were somehow more dangerous than their armies. And yes, episode 4, it finally felt like that again. So who was our big winner in episode 4? Ormond Hightower. So let's talk about him. Not that we want to, but we need to. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations! I think we have found our season's villain. He is absolutely terrifying. And it's not because he yells, not because he fights, because he smiles while he is ruining people's lives. That is a depth of evil I cannot explain. This episode gives us several examples of his leadership style. Not sure it's a leadership style I might want to follow. At first glance, Armin looks reasonable. He punishes one of his own soldiers after an assault. Oh, you think? Wow, maybe this guy actually has some standards. And then, almost immediately, yes, he reveals his strategy. He's not interested in justice. He's interested in what most political figures are: control. And even worse, he begins shaping Darren into exactly the king he wants. Not Aegon, not Aemon, Darren. That's terrifying because Ormond isn't trying to win the war. He is trying to rewrite the dynasty itself by elevating a ruler molded in Hightower value rather than Targaryen traditions. To me, that is far more dangerous. Well, let's talk about the wild card of the episode, that being Darren Targaryen. Finally, we've waited years to finally see him, and we finally got to spend some real time with him. And honestly, I kind of find him fascinating. Unlike Aegon, unlike Aemon, un- no. Unlike Daemon, Darren actually feels normal? Wait. Normal Targaryen dynasty? Those don't seem to fit. Guess we'll see. So this makes me suspicious immediately. Nobody normal survives in Westeros. And you can say that again. He's caught between two identities. He's a Targaryen by blood, but he has an upbringing of a high tower. And Ormond knows exactly how to manipulate that conflict. The scenes between them are uncomfortable because Darren clearly wants to be honorable while Ormond keeps nudging him toward becoming another political weapon. All right. You may win the war, but after you win the war, you don't necessarily always get peace. And that is what Rhaenyra is experiencing. And let's be honest, she technically sits on the throne, but does she really control the realm? Well, not anymore. That's the central message of this episode. Every victory she earned now creates another problem. Yay. She's dealing with not having enough money because her coffers are empty. Who is loyal to her? Secrets. Questions inside her own court. Enemies outside her border. It's leadership through exhaustion. This is one of Emma Darcy's strongest performances because Rhaenyra rarely explodes emotionally. Instead, you can see every burden weighing on her. That's much harder to act. Okay, if you've listened to the show, you know I'm a huge fan of Damon. Love Matt Smith. And yes, I'm giving him another reward. Damon learns the truth about Rhaena. Wow. His reaction isn't screaming, it isn't disappointment. It's confusion, protectiveness, love. Wait. Love and Damon in the same sentence. Don't know if that's going to work. Everything's happening at once. Then comes the biggest decision. Does he tell Rhaenyra the truth? Oh, no. He, like most people, are playing political chess. So what does he do? He lies. Because, blood still matters more than honesty. And Damon choosing family over duty perfectly summarizes his character. He's loyal, but only to the people he chooses, not to the realm. Damon's decision to have the truth about Sheep Stealer's rider fundamentally alters trust within Team Black. Okay, the biggest surprise? Rhaena. Rhaena may quietly become one of the most important players in the entire war. She's no longer simply hiding. She now represents a dangerous secret. And if the truth gets out, it changes everything. She's gone from overlooked daughter to someone capable of reshaping military strategy. That's incredible character growth. Alicent, who has to live with her consequences of her decisions. I mean, don't it look like my girl might need a vacation? And I mean, not just a weekend on a beach. I think she needs like decades on the beach. No politics, no dragons, no family dinners, just somewhere with absolutely zero Targaryens. I will say, Olivia Cook continues making Alicent incredibly sympathetic despite years of terrible decisions. This episode especially highlights the regret. She's no longer chasing power, she's trying to survive it. And learning about Helena's pregnancy only raises the stakes for House Green and adds another fragile piece to an already unstable succession puzzle. As we know, Aegon, still alive, still broken, still convinced he's coming back. The scenes involving Sunfire were heartbreaking because hope can sometimes be crueler than defeat. And watching Aegon cling to the belief that his dragon lives gives him purpose. But it also keeps him trapped in the past. So, will we see evolution? Helena. Every time Helena appears, something uncomfortable happens. She's almost like a living prophecy. Her implied pregnancy doesn't dominate the episode with dialogue, but it changes the political landscape because it introduces yet another potential heir and another reason for every faction to do what they do best and keep scheming. So let's talk about what worked in this episode. Character development. Every major player had change. Nobody stood still. Second, political tension. This episode trusted the audience and it didn't rely on spectacle, it relied on dialogue, and that's confidence. Number 3, Matt Smith. Again, just incredible. I mean, how many times can I tell you I love this character? Number 4, Ormond. Fantastic villain. Makes you really want to hate him and really want to see his downfall. And he isn't flashy. He's just terrifying. So, what didn't work in this episode? If I had one criticism, some viewers expecting another massive battle will probably feel this episode is slow. But honestly, those viewers, I think you're missing the point. This episode, it's the loading gun. And next week, I think someone is pulling that trigger. The MVP of this week's episode. Oh, I hate to do it. I really hate to do it, but it has to go to Ormond Hightower. And it's definitely not because he's likable, because he changed the direction of the season. Every great Game of Thrones villain doesn't simply kill people. They change the rules, and that is exactly what Ormond is doing. So, my final ratings for story, 9.5. For acting, a 10. Dialogue, a 9.5. Political intrigue, definitely a 10. Dragon action, 4. Emotional damage, a 27 out of 10. So overall, I would give this week's episode a 9.6. Episode 4 wasn't about winning the battles. It was about winning people. Winning them with loyalty, winning with heirs, winning with narratives. The Iron Throne isn't just forged with dragonfire. It's built on secrets. And after this episode, everybody's keeping one. And the scary part, the dragons haven't even reached their most destructive chapter yet. So, if this episode proved anything, it's that the most dangerous weapon in Westeros isn't dragonfire. It's a conversation held behind a closed door. So, if you enjoyed this review, please do not forget to like, subscribe, and share the podcast with other House of Dragon fans. And let me know in the comments who truly stole episode 4. And I have a feeling this debate, I think it may only be getting started. So until next week, I will talk to you later. Bye.